Do your thing.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Final Fantasy Theory. Today we're going to be talking about Ultimecia being the ultimate winner of Final Fantasy VIII Part 2. In my last video, I described how Ultimecia was the winner because she started a time loop that cycles her life over and over, in which new magic power is thrown into each timeline, making Ultimecia stronger until she can one day overcome Squall and the party. Today I'm going to expand further on why I believe Ultimecia is the true winner, and what lore in the game matches my thoughts. Ultimecia, like all sorceresses, are descendants of Hine, but I believe that Ultimecia is Hine, the god of the Final Fantasy VIII universe. Let me explain first. I'm not saying Ultimecia is Hine in person, at least not fully. If you watched my other video, the Emperor is Hine video, then you know that the backstory for Hine is that he split his soul in two. Half of his soul slumbers, while the other half was given to humanity in the form of sorceresses. Ultimecia is the culmination of every sorceress that ever lived. She is the final sorceress, and thus can rejoin the physical body / other half of Hine's soul, and become God itself, as she said in her speech before the final battle. Here are some of the lore on why this is possible. The first reason: Hine gave up half his soul to create conflict, and eventually intended for his soul to rejoin him so he could rebuild the world. The second reason: Hine was angry that his creation rejected him. He tried to enslave them before he split his soul. The monsters he sent weren't enough to defeat the humans. Third reason: the time compression spell required near godlike power to cast, and Ultimecia could only manage to do so by going into the past to cast it first. Let's break down the lore here a bit. Hine happened upon the world of Final Fantasy VIII and decided to create life. However, he chose to sleep while the humans advanced. When he awoke, he was impressed by the humans, but they rejected him since he was absent their entire history. Hine was enraged and sent monsters to wipe them out. The first lunar cry that happened over the central ruins and the city was from Hine himself. This was his only major victory during his conflict with the humans. When he was essentially defeated, Hine offered to give half his soul as a gift to the humans. This was the birth of the sorceresses. Hine did this to create conflict and eventually set up his return. In the small bit of Adele we get to see, it is apparent that Hine is working through her for his goals, but not for time compression. Adele was obsessed with world domination and wanted to summon more monsters from the moon to do it. She was sealed before that could succeed. If Adele had succeeded, it's likely she would have stumbled upon the time compression spell herself, or at the very least set up an empire that would have led to Ultimecia anyway, fulfilling that goal. Ultimecia is the final sorceress in the world, and she wants to compress time and make all one, where humans are enslaved and she alone rules the world. This is because of Hine. If she had succeeded, it is likely that Hine would have awoken and reclaimed his world once and for all. Ultimecia searched through history, saw that Adele was very much alive and arguably the second strongest sorceress in the world as far as in-game lore is given. She knew she needed to go back so that she could cast her spell, and with Adele's body and her position in the time stream, it was possible. By taking over Adele's body, using her magic combined with the magic that Ultimecia already had, she was able to cast the time compression spell, which I believe is more like the Hine soul reunification spell, because that's what I believe the true purpose of that magic was, whether Ultimecia knew it or not. Ellen, of course, ruins this plan by guiding Squall and his friend's consciousness through time into the time-compressed world in the future. This disrupts the magic, but this also saves the party from facing Hine, where they likely would have lost. Ultimecia is defeated, but knowing that she could still potentially win, she starts the time loop by putting her powers into a younger Adele. And as I said in my previous videos, Ultimecia set up a system where her power will infinitely increase until she can defeat the party, cast the spell, and become the new god. Now you might be wondering, does that mean Ultimecia knows what Hine is doing? or has she been tricked? I think that both answers could be true. Not at the same time, of course, but it's definitely possible that either scenario is accurate. Let's take a look at why. So let's look at the first possibility. Ultimecia is being tricked by Hine. It's definitely valid because Ultimecia is vain, she is afraid of dying, and she's afraid of losing. She's afraid of fate. So the idea that Hine tricks her and uses her own insecurities against her for her to cast a spell that actually allows Hine to reclaim his half of his soul is entirely plausible. But on the flip side, we have that Ultimecia knew what Hine was doing, but she actually was going to win and take over Hine. When you look at Final Fantasy VII and how Jenova was more powerful and she influenced everyone, including Sephiroth in the beginning, but that ended up changing and Sephiroth overtook Jenova's will, I think the same can be said for Ultimecia and Hine's will, that her desire for ultimate power and living forever superseded Hine. So that's the reasons why I kind of really think that Ultimecia is the true winner of Final Fantasy VIII. She really is one of the best villains, and I don't think she gets enough credit. A lot of that can be done to the writing and the style of the game, but with all the empty slots and lore, it allows you to develop this idea that Ultimecia is actually a very solid villain. Anyway, that's my theory. I hope you all liked it. Comment down below on what you thought. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree? Do you have a theory you want me to explore? Comment that stuff down below. I want to engage with you guys, and ultimately I really want to apologize about the fact that I've been gone so long. Life has been hectic, and I promise I'll do some lives so I can kind of talk about that with you all. But I assure you, my videos are back. As always, like and subscribe. Thanks for watching, guys.